I want to greet all of you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and welcome you to this important function, which is the launch of the Judiciary Annual Performance Report for the year 2020-2021. You are most welcome, and would like to thank you very much for honoring our invitation, especially those who have come from outside the judiciary. We are about to begin our program. I want to say that all the invited guests are in the house and the hosts are in the house. So we have a few minutes to begin the function. And the function will have the following program. We are waiting for the arrival of the principal judge, who will be followed by the Deputy Chief Justice. And then the Chief Justice will arrive, and then we shall begin the function with anthems, which will be preceded by a word of prayer. We shall have welcome remarks by the Chief Registrar, and then the annual report will be launched by the Honorable the Chief Justice. We shall end with a photo session to mark this important function. I would like to recognize the following people who have already honored with their presence. We are honored to have the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Mr. Charles Erem Ogwal. We do welcome you very much. We are honored by the presence of the President Uganda Law Society, Madam Fiona Wall. We always be happy when we see you. Thank you very much for coming. We are honored to have Senior Commissioner of Police, Christine Nanding, who is the Deputy Director, Human Rights and Legal Services, Uganda Police Force. You are most welcome, Madam. Of course, we have our own, the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Bryce Bigirimana. Thank you very much for being around. We have senior managers, the registrars. We want to welcome you and thank you very much for keeping time and being here. Shortly we shall have the top management's arrival, and once they arrive, we shall be set to begin our function. I once again welcome you and wish you a nice stay around. Thank you. We do welcome the Honorable Principal Judge and the Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission. My lords, you are most welcome. Welcome the Deputy Chief Justice. My lord, you are most welcome. Can stand up and receive the Honorable Chief Justice. My lord, we request that we remain standing for the anthems. I request that we take our seats as I invite our worship Baleve to come and invoke the powers of God to be with us.
Thank you. Let's all humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Father Almighty God, in the name of Jesus, we give you praise and we give you honor. We thank you for this morning. Master, we thank you for our institution, the judiciary. And we thank you for everyone, the different actors in the administration of justice. We thank you for the judicial officers. We thank you for our different stakeholders. We thank you for all the leaders, the heads of departments that we act with to administer justice to the people of Uganda. We specifically lift up our top management, the Honorable the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable the Principal Judge, the Permanent Secretary, the Chief Registrar, as they continue to steer our institution to greater heights. We thank you for this day, that we are all gathered here, a day that the judiciary is accounting to the people of Uganda through the annual performance report. We continue to pray and thank you for the different milestones we have achieved this far. We commit each one of us here present. Give us wisdom and knowledge as we continue to play our different roles. We thank you, Almighty Father, and we bless your name. And we pray that even the time that we are here, you continue to bless us. In your name I've prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much for that word of prayer. My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice of the Republic of Uganda, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable Principal Judge, the Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, the Permanent Secretary and Secretary to Judiciary, the Chief Registrar, the Deputy DPP, the representative of the IGP, the President, Uganda Law Society, senior managers of the judiciary, the staff of judiciary, the First Estate, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to thank God very much for this day when we hold this function where we do account for the year 2020-2021. And this is despite the destruction we had of COVID-19, but we want to thank God that we stand here to report on what we have done during that financial year. My Lord, I would like to put the program which we have before this congregation. We shall be having welcome remarks by the Chief Registrar. After that, we shall have the launch and presentation of the annual performance report by the Honorable the Chief Justice. After it has been inaugurated, then we shall have a photo session to mark this important day which goes down in the history of the judiciary. With your permission, allow me to recognize the important people who have graced this function, my Lord. With us is the Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, Justice Benjamin Kabitu. Thank you very much for coming. We have been honored with the presence of the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Erem Ogwar. Thank you very much for coming. We have the presence of the President Uganda Law Society, Madam Fiona Award. My Lord, we have the presence of the representative of the Inspector General of Police, Senior Commissioner of Police, Christine Nanding, and she's the Deputy Director of the Human Rights and Legal Services in the Uganda Police Force. We have been honored by the presence of the senior managers in the judiciary. We have the registrars and other senior managers of the judiciary. Allow me now, my Lord, to invite the Chief Registrar to make her remarks, And I will also in turn request her to recognize the other members of the top management, since she's a member there, and then she will perform another function which she will be doing in the due course. Your Worship, you are most welcome.
The Honorable, the Chief Justice of the Republic of Uganda. My Lord, allow me to adopt the protocol that the PRO, our Master of Ceremony this morning, has ably laid out in the interest of time. I will begin, my Lord, by introducing members of the top management who are here. And I begin with the Honorable, the Deputy Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Richard Butera. My Lord, you're most welcome. The Honorable Principal Judge has just stepped out, but when he comes back, we will still acknowledge his presence. My Lord, the Chief Justice, we have the Permanent Secretary to the Judiciary, Mr. Pius Bigirimana, with us. PS, you are most welcome. My Lord, the Honorable Chief Justice, allow me to convey apologies from the Honorable Attorney General, who was unable to come here because he's attending Cabinet. My Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice, and all of us who are present this morning in this event, both physical and online, allow me to welcome you very, very warmly to this inaugural launch of the Judiciary Annual Performance Report. My Lord, I welcome in a special way the members of the Administration of Justice Program who have spared the time and come. My Lord, Chairperson, Judicial Service Commission, and all the external participants this morning, I welcome you in a very, very special way. Thank you for being with us today when we do a new thing that has previously not been done in the judiciary. My Lord Chief Justice, we thank God that has given us as judiciary this opportunity to be able to showcase our performance of the last financial year. My Lord, and I'm confident and I believe that this day to us as a judiciary is a turning point in terms of enabling the people of Uganda understand exactly what we have been able to do or what we actually do every day. My Lord, allow me to inform you that recently the PS led a delegation that comprised members of the Administration of Justice Program to the Presidential Advisory Committee on Budget. And in that meeting, the PS made an excellent presentation. And my Lord, what is key about that presentation is that the honorable members were amazed at how there are so many good things happening in the judiciary, but which they were not aware of. So my Lord, we told them, and we used the words of the young people that watch the space. We told them to watch the space because we knew this day was coming when, as judiciary, would be able to show the world that in here there are many things that are happening, even if they had not been known that they are happening outside there. So I believe the honorable members of that committee and Ugandans as well today will be pleasantly surprised by the things that have been happening in the judiciary in the last financial year. My Lord, the Chief Justice, and all the honorable members present, as we may all be aware, this day has been made possible through the enactment of the Administration of the Judiciary Act, which mandates the Honorable Chief Justice to publish the performance of the report. My Lord, I thank all the members so much for coming. And as I wind up, my Lord, allow me in a special way to thank our partners, the members of the Fourth Estate. My Lord, the Fourth Estate has helped us to be able to reach where we cannot reach, especially when we send out information that is key and critical to our members. So a special thank you to the media. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And my Lord, you'll allow me to divert a bit off this program, but to make one thing that is important. The media recently enabled us to sensitize, my Lord, our people about their right to a refund of their bail money deposits. My Lord, allow me to inform you that there has been good response according to the reports we receive from the field that people are showing up and turning up to claim their monies. The challenge, however, has been the requirement of a bank account. But my Lord, I'm happy to inform you that the PS has also taken all the necessary steps to permit refund by mobile money. So that is now going to be much easier for our people to claim their money. And the point is, I think we are in a judiciary that is responsive to the needs of its people. So my Lord, I thank you for allowing me to inform members about that, and once again to welcome all of you to this very, very important and inaugural function for the judiciary. My role now is to invite the Deputy Chief Justice, to invite the Chief Justice to present the report. My Lord, you're most welcome.
Chief Justice, my Lord Principal Judge, my Lord the Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission, my Lords, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for extremely important function for the judiciary, and that is accountability to the people of Uganda in the delivery of the judicial service to the population. My Lord Chief Justice, I invite you and welcome you to come and deliver this function to the population of Uganda. Most welcome.
My Lord, the Honorable Deputy Chief Justice, my Lord, the Honorable the Principal Judge, my Lord, the Chair, Judicial Service Commission, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Your Worship, the Chief Registrar, the Permanent Secretary, Secretary to the Judiciary, the Secretary to the Judicial Service Commission, the Inspector General Police Representative of the Commissioner General of Uganda Prisons, the President of Uganda Law Society, Your Worships, the registrars, the Public Relations Officer, the Commissioners and heads of departments and units, all members of senior management, the esteemed members of the press, distinguished countrymen and women attending online, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Ugandan judiciary, I have the honor to present to you, the people of Uganda, the Judiciary Annual Performance Report for the financial year 2020-2021, meaning up to end of June this calendar year 2021. As you recall, the judiciary has customarily published its annual performance report at the launch of each new law year during the month of January and early February of each year. This was a tradition regulated by a rule of practice. With the enactment of the Administration of the Judiciary Act 2020, it is now a requirement, a statutory requirement, that the Judiciary Annual Performance Report be aligned to the financial year rather than the calendar year. This inaugural report is therefore in fulfillment of Section 1939, subsection 1 of the Administration of the Judiciary Act 2020, that requires the Chief Justice to publish an annual performance report for every concluded financial year and distribute copies of the same to the President, the Speaker of Parliament, and other stakeholders. The report expounds the achievements of the judiciary during the financial year under consideration, as well as the challenges and impediments encountered in realizing the achievements. It also highlights judiciary's efforts towards strengthening the administration of justice in accordance with the theme of the Judiciary Strategic Plan 5, which covers the period from financial year 2020/21 to financial year 2024/25, Judiciary Strategic Plan 5. Performance of the judiciary during the financial year 2020/21. A. Financial performance. The judiciary's approved budget for financial year 2020/21 was Uganda shillings 199 billion, with a supplementary budget of 22.5 billion, which was further received during the financial year, leading to a revised budget of 221.5 billion Uganda shillings. The supplementary budget was earmarked for retirement benefits of judicial officers in accordance with the Administration of the Judiciary Act 2020, the domestic and utility areas, and the disposal of presidential and parliamentary election petitions. Out of the released budget of 215.5 billion Uganda shillings, 208.7 was duly utilized, indicating an absorption rate of 96.6%. B. Case management. During the financial year 2020/21, courts disposed of 156,875 cases out of a caseload of 317,929. This accounted for 49% of all the cases in the system. The 156,875 cases disposed of translated into a 20% improvement in case disposal from 130,869 cases disposed of in the financial year 2019/20. In addition, the courts recorded a 4% increase in case registration from 159,543 cases in financial year 2019/20 to 165,347 cases in financial year 2020/2021. The overall picture of how the judiciary performed in the financial year 2020/21 is summarized in a table which is in this document. The Supreme Court had a disposal rate of 14% with a clearance rate of 49%. The Court of Appeal, which serves as a constitutional court, had a disposal rate of 17% and a clearance rate of 81%. The High Courts had 38% disposal rate and 109% clearance rate. Chief Magistrates Courts had 55% disposal rate and 91% clearance rate. Magistrates Grade 1 courts had 56% disposal rate with a 91% clearance rate. Magistrate Grade 2 courts had 78% disposal rate and 103% clearance rate. The grand total sums up as follows. The disposal rate for the entire court of judicature was 49%, with a clearance rate of 95%. The good performance of courts in financial year 2020/21 can be attributed to the following. 1. Use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms such as the plea bargaining program, mediation and small claims procedure. 2. Weeding out of dormant cases in accordance with the law. 3. Use of video conferencing system to hear cases which reduce the delays of bringing prisoners and suspects to court. 4. Judicial officers use the lockdown period owing to the COVID pandemic to write judgments and deliver them online via email. C. The state of the judiciary physical infrastructure. The judiciary has got 105 courts in our own premises. We have 56 rented premises, and then 77 premises are in district and sub-county buildings, properties of local government. Many of these structures were constructed decades ago, and their designs are old and outdated. With emerging issues such as population growth, use of modern court equipment which need customized space, accommodation of special needs groups such as persons with disabilities, PWDs, who need ramps, these new demands have rendered these structures less suitable as courthouses. For the financial year 2020/21, expenditure on rent was 12.4 billion Uganda shillings, which was 6.2% of the judiciary budget. By the end of the financial year 2020/21, the Supreme Court structure reached the roofing level, while the Court of Appeal reached the 5th floor. I'm referring, ladies and gentlemen, to the twin structures just behind you. If you look through the window, you'll be able to see the structures I'm referring to. The works remained on schedule despite the delays caused by the general restrictions in respect to the COVID-19 pandemic. Construction work are expected to be completed by April 2022. I'm referring to next April in the calendar year. And this will reduce the rent expenditure by over 6 billion, in addition to offering decent and tailor-made accommodation to the courts, the justices, and the staff. Other ongoing construction projects at various stages included Mukono High Court at the first floor level, Justice Centers at Kole, Sembabule, Shema, Bueju, and Chief Magistrates Courts of Butambala, Kamwenge, and Mayuge at finishing level. Construction works for Justice Centers were expected to commence at Kibale, Maracha, and Namayingo. The contract for construction of Mpigi High Court was awarded, but works did not commence because of lack of funding. It is important to note that as we speak today, work in most of the aforementioned courts has progressed very well. D. Automation of court processes. Electronic Court Case Management Information System, better known by the acronym ECMIS, the judiciary designed and developed the Electronic Court Case Management Information System, ECMIS, which is IT-based and automates the entire process of a court case life cycle, right from filing, e-filing that is, to archival, the e-archive. A phased approach for implementation of ECMIS was adopted, and the first phase is planned to cover 18 court stations that include the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal Constitutional Court, the 7 High Court divisions located in Kampala, 1 High Court at the circuit, 5 Chief Magistrates Courts, and 3 Magistrates Grade 1 courts. The ECMIS was commissioned in the current financial year 2021-2022, and mandatory training of end users is ongoing. B, video conferencing system. In a bid to embrace online hearing of cases, the Judiciary installed video conferencing systems at the Commercial Division, Mbarara High Court, Arua High Court, Masindi High Court, and Masaka High Court. The video conferencing system enables court cases to be handled remotely with court and parties submitting online. The video conferencing system was very vital in the handling of cases during the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown and the strict enforcement of social distancing. The video conferencing system enabled the judiciary to handle cases online, hence reducing on case backlog. C, digital court recording and transcription. To speed up the effort of case hearing and production of the court transcripts, the judiciary rolled out 5 sets of digital court recording and transcription systems in the High Court, Land and Civil Divisions. E, human resource capacity development. Appointments and promotions. During the financial year 2020-21, the judiciary received a new Chief Justice, a Deputy Chief Justice, Honorable Justice Richard Butera, and a Chief Registrar, Worship Sarah Langa Seal. Thanks a lot, my Lord Chair, on behalf of the Judicial Service Commission, for availing us these opportunities. In addition, 6 registrars and 2 deputy registrars, among other staff, were appointed in the judiciary service. 30 judicial officers were promoted, 9 were promoted to deputy chief registrars, 5 to assistant registrars, 14 to chief magistrates, 1 to principal magistrates grade 1, and 1 to senior magistrate grade 1. The staffing levels, however, pitifully remained in the financial year 2020-21 at 37% of the approved structure by the close of the financial year. This of course is unfortunate. This financial year 2021-22, the new structure of judicial officers has been approved and plans are underway to fill the gaps at the different court levels. I make this reference because the plan for this was made in the financial year under consideration. What transpires in this financial year will be recorded in my next State of the Judiciary annual report. But we have to mention this because it was planned for and it is an ongoing process. F, general challenges. 1, manpower gaps. The judiciary requires adequate manpower and tools to effectively deliver meaningful justice. Articles 28, Clause 1, and Article 126, Clause 2, Paragraph B of the Constitution provides for delivery of justice without delay. We all know the old adage of justice delayed is justice denied. The available manpower in the period was not commensurate with the volume of cases filed. Consequently, the judiciary struggled with delays and case backlog of 152,582 cases brought forward from financial year 2019-2020. This was exacerbated by the 165,347 cases registered in the financial year under review, which were more than the cases brought forward from the previous year. The judiciary was inadequately staffed as 37%, as I've said before, of the approved staff structure of 2009. The total number of 378 judicial officers in the financial year was expected to serve a population projected at 45 million people. Out of the 386 magistrates, grade 1 courts, only 126 had magistrates. A total of 27 chief magistrates were caretaking between 2 to 6 chief magistrates' courts, with the Fort Portal chief magistrate caretaking 6 magisterial areas. One chief magistrate was caretaking jurisdiction to be covered by 6 chief magistrates. So you add the one that chief magistrate was properly administering in, and then you add 6 chief magistrates areas. You're talking of the chief magistrate of Mukono, taking care of Luero, taking care of Biji, taking care of Metiana. I'm using the areas you're familiar with, and so on and so forth. So this was the problem in the financial year under consideration. And that was the problem, areas like Fort Portal, Soroti, which was looking after 5, Lira, which was looking after 5 chief magisterial areas. Now, for instance, the Ankole sub-region, which by the way suffers some of the worst case backlog situations, would better be served if it has 3 high court circuits. That's when some meaningful interventions can be made to render service, judicial service to our people in the sub-region. Same with Busoga sub-region, with a huge population, it needs 3 high court circuits. But in the financial year under review, it had only 1, Jinja. Just like Ankole has only Mbarara. Then the High Court of Gulu is so far away in the Acholi sub-region. The High Court of Gulu is so far away from some people, they have to travel 200 kilometers to reach the High Court. We are talking of a distance from here beyond Kibimba, if you've ever gone to Tororo. To get a High Court, you have to travel from Kampala, or the other way around. You have to come from Kibimba. To get a High Court, you have to come up to Kampala. So for the period under review, I can also add, it is still, the status quo has remained. That there are people who travel. My own place where I was born, I have to travel 165 kilometers to reach the High Court in Gulu. So this is the problem the court of judicature operated under in the financial year under review. Situations that are next to impossible. The litigants in the Karamoja sub-region, litigants from Kabong. Kabong is extreme northeast, not far away from the Sudan border and Kenya border. They have to travel to Soroti to get a High Court. Such glaring manpower gaps were bound to adversely affect people's access to justice. In my next delivery of the state of the judiciary, I should be able to tell you what the judiciary with the Judicial Service Commission has done to alleviate these problems which I've mentioned. in the period of 2021-2022 financial year. Now, considering that there were 161,054 cases pending in the courts in addition to an average of 165,347 cases registered each year, the judicial officers were overstretched and could not dispose of the cases in time. The ratio of judicial officers to the population stood as follows. For the Supreme Court, it is 1 to 5 million. 5,101,111, but just remember the 5 million. For the Court of Appeal, it is 1 judicial officer to 3.5 million. In the High Court, it is 1 judicial officer to 1.8 million, because it is 1.793. Then for the Magistrates' Court, 1 judicial officer serves 158,075 people. So this helps us to understand. This helps us to make the people of Uganda understand why there are case backlogs, why cases take 4 years, 6 years, 7 years, in some cases, sadly, up to 10 years. Okay. In some cases, up to 10 years. So this is the situation under which the judicial officers in the Ugandan courts of judicature operated under in the financial year under consideration. Now, according to court case performance reports analyzed by the Judiciary Data Management Committee, the average period a case takes in court was at 3 years. A case is considered as a backlog when it takes more than 2 years without disposal. As such, eliminating case backlog is a tall order in a situation where 6 out of the 20 High Court circuits are without judges, and 57 of the 100 Chief Magistrates courts in the establishment are without chief magistrates to run them. Inadequate funding. Budgetary limitations have compounded the judiciary's perennial challenges with case disposal due to the inadequate number of judicial officers. In the commercial court alone, that's the commercial division in Kampala, we have up to Uganda shillings 5 trillion locked up in 6,094 unresolved cases. The volume of pending land cases as of 30th June 2021 stood at 32,413, broken down as follows. 15,966 cases are at the High Court, 10,944 at the Chief Magistrates Court, 5,419 at the Magistrate Grade 1 courts. This means that a vast amount of land and resources is locked up and not contributing to the economic development of the country. In many of these cases, there are orders of injunction to avoid violence and so on and so forth. The lands are neither being used by the plaintiff nor by the defendant, and for 3, 4, 5 years, it is a waste because it is not in any way contributing to the economic development of our country. The volume of pending land cases as at 30th June 2021, the end of the financial year under consideration, stood at 32,413, including 15,966 cases with a minimum value of 51 million at High Court level. If you took it that all these cases were at 51 million, which is not the case because many of them are in billions, in hundreds of millions, we are talking of 1 trillion shillings minimum, which is locked up in this country in land dispute. But the figure goes well beyond 10 trillions because the vast lands, vast lands which are in contestation, and they're worth hundreds of millions or billions. This means that a vast amount of land and resources worth trillions of Uganda shillings is locked up and not contributing to the economic development of the country. A spike in land disputes stemming from development projects has several negative impacts. Now, the land disputes, or the failure to resolve land disputes, has ramifications. A large percentage of criminal cases have origins in unresolved land disputes. Apart from impeding development projects, incurring significant cost to the government and disrupting social order, slow resolution of land disputes has a negative impact on agricultural productivity. Denninger and Castagnini, a report of 2006 on incidence and impact of land conflict in Uganda, estimate that land-related disputes in Uganda resulted in a loss of agricultural productivity of 5 to 11% of the total value of agricultural output in Uganda. This is serious for those of you who understand economics, because the backbone of Uganda economy is agriculture. So if you have up to 10% of the factors of production, that factor of production lying idle, it is very costly for a country that strives to enter the middle income classification. Now, number 3, escalating case backlog. Excuse me. The inadequate funding and staffing of the judiciary inevitably resulted in escalating case backlog at all court levels. The backlog level as of 30th June 2021 stood at 51,748, broken down as follows. In the Supreme Court, 286 of the pending 614 cases, which constitute 47% of cases, were backlogged. We have, in other words, we have 614 pending cases, and of that, 286 are backlogged. At the Court of Appeal, 4,888 cases of the pending 7,591, which constitute 64% of the cases, are backlogged. Three, among the High Court divisions, 10,926 cases, that is 38%, out of the 28,879 pending cases are backlogged. The highest percentage of backlog cases were in the family division, totaling 2,079, that is 46%, out of the total pending 4,518 cases. In the High Court circuits, 15,028 cases, constituting 52% of the 29,088 pending cases, were backlogged. Jinja High Court registered the highest backlog of 3,148 cases, followed by Gulu with 1,458 cases, and Fort Portal High Court with 1,430 cases of backlog. 5. The Chief Magistrates Courts had 15,604 backlog cases, while Magistrate Grade 1 courts had 4,896 backlog cases, and the Magistrate Grade 2 courts with 120 backlog cases. 4. Limited jurisdiction of magistrates' courts. The escalating inflation levels and the current market values of products was impacting adversely on the pecuniary jurisdiction of magistrates' courts. This means the upper limit in money terms that a magistrate can handle, the ceiling for a magistrate to handle a case in money terms. Now, an average used motor vehicle goes for about 50 million shillings, while a 50 by 100 feet plot of land in the suburbs of any city cost about 50 million shillings. Yet the bulk of judicial officers who are magistrate grade 1 can only handle disputes up to 20 million shillings. So we have judicial officers who are posted into your district and they cannot handle a dispute worth 30 million shillings, 50 million shillings. You have a dispute over a car you bought from a friend. You have to go to look for a chief magistrate, and if it is in the Soroti chief magistrate and you are a resident of Kachumbala, you must go up to Soroti because there is no chief magistrate in Kumi or Ngora or Katakwi or Kaberamaido. Or if you are in Fort Portal during this period, you must come all the way from Bundibuju, you must come all the way from Kasese, from Chenjojo, from Kamwenge to look for one chief magistrate to handle a dispute of 21 million shillings. So there is need to amend the Magistrates Courts Act to enhance jurisdiction of magistrates courts for them to render meaningful service to our people. Inadequate court infrastructure. Most of the court buildings are old, but also small and inadequate to match staff and court user space needs. Very crucial courts were operating from rented premises. I gave you the statistics. While other gazetted courts, including some high court circuits, could not start operations because of lack of premises. Rented premises cost the judiciary approximately 11.15 billion shillings per annum. There were challenges of dilapidated structures, absence of toilet facilities at a number of courts, lack of archives, exhibit stores, while other court premises were not customized with specific facility for persons with disabilities. The elderly, pregnant and lactating mothers, which hindered access to judicial service. There were challenges of lack of budget support for institutional houses to cater for accommodation in hard-to-reach or to stay areas like Kalangala, Buvuma Highland, Bulisa, Buyende, Abim, Karenga, Napak, and Bukuo, among others. 6, lack of transport. The judiciary still faces a big challenge of a limited number of vehicles to facilitate the work of judicial officers, especially those at the lower bench and in hard-to-reach areas like the islands of Kome, Buvuma, and Kalangala. There is urgent need for a water vessel to traverse the islands. 7, limited automation of court process. This was especially vital in the handling of cases during the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic, where physical interaction was limited. The judiciary was still validating the business process of the Electronic Court Case Management Information System, ECMIS, which would, among other services, provide for e-filing and video conferencing. Number 8, the COVID-19 challenge. The deadly COVID-19 pandemic that the nation and indeed the whole world was confronting grossly, affecting lives and the mode of operations. The performance of the judiciary was greatly frustrated and affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, which, apart from causing a national lockdown, also directly devastated court attendance. Some courts closed completely, case registration reduced, and some court processes were not served. As a result, the judiciary has embraced the use of technology, such as the video conferencing facilities, to dispose of cases, hold online meetings, and online delivery of judgments, among others, which are cost-effective. 9, staff insecurity. Security threats to judicial officers have been a long-standing challenge for the judiciary. Some judicial officers have received personal threats relating to their management of cases, while at the same time some cases of vandalization of court infrastructure have been reported in some cases. 10, weaknesses and inadequacies among key sister agencies. Justice services are not exclusive to the judiciary. Therefore, the performance of the other jailers' institutions greatly impacts on the performance of the judiciary. The quality of police investigations has been challenging, while in many cases the human resource capacity of the Office of the DPP to adequately staff all the courts remain inadequate. Reports of corruption amongst the sister agencies would be linked to the judiciary, which is the ultimate decision maker in every case that reaches the courts. G, recommendations. In view of the challenges experienced above, the following recommendations were suggested. These recommendations were made during the period under consideration. 1, adequate funding for the judiciary. A paradigm shift is needed so that appropriate focus and attention are accorded to the judiciary as an arm of government, just like Parliament, considering its constitutional mandate and the peculiar challenges it faces. This would ensure that it gets the necessary funding that is adequate for effective delivery of judicial services. B, there is need for enhancement of human and material resources to tackle the challenges of case backlog, which stands at 32%. C, more vehicles should be procured for judicial officers across the courts, and especially in hard-to-reach areas, to facilitate locus visits and other adjudication functions of the courts. More vehicles are needed to facilitate locus and quo visits, while marine vessels are all needed for courts on islands of Kome, Buvuma, and Kalangala, as I mentioned before. Number 2, recruitment of sufficient staff. A sufficient number of judicial officers and support staff should be progressively recruited for effective delivery of judicial service. B, the recruitment plan for the financial year 2021-2022, which provides for 697 judicial officers and 958 support staff, should be effectively and timely implemented. C, the judiciary should be accorded the necessary resources to establish more justice centers to bring services nearer to the people and afford them effective access to justice. Roman 1 of C, each district should have at least one chief magistrate, magisterial area, with a chief magistrate to run it. Therefore, there is need to recruit 146 chief magistrates to match the number of districts in Uganda, a minimum of 146. This is because some districts would have more than one chief magistrate. Roman 2, there is also need to have at least one magistrate grade 1 in each of the 353 county constituencies in Uganda. Roman 3, the High Court establishment must be commensurate with the area population and the unique geographical challenges. There is need to enhance the size of the Court of Appeal by establishing it at the various regions at Mbale, Mbarara, Arua, Gulu, and Fort Portal, and others. Number 3, implementation of the Administration of the Judiciary Act 2020. In order to implement the Administration of the Judiciary Act, the judiciary should ensure that during the financial year 2021-22, the following is achieved. A, establish the judiciary service delinked from the traditional public service. B, expand the judiciary service structure to enhance the number of judicial officers in accordance with the 2021 approved structure. C, expand the judicial service structure to enhance the numbers of non-judicial officers in accordance with the 2009 approved structure. D, expand the structure of the non-judicial, administrative, and staff commensurate with our vision in the Judiciary Strategic Plan 5. Following the approval of the new judiciary structure in 2021, the structure of the upper bench and the lower bench would therefore be enhanced as shown in the table below, respectively. This table 2 shows the structure of the upper bench. The Supreme Court would have a total of 20 justices, which would be an enhancement from 10. Then justices of the Court of Appeal would, is that enemy action? The justices of the Court of Appeal or Constitutional Court would be enhanced from 14 plus the Deputy Chief Justice, that would be 15. So it would be enhanced from 14 to 15, and then plus the Deputy Chief Justice would be 56. High Court judges would be enhanced to 150, headed by the principal judge. We would have 12 registrars instead of 9. We would have 8 deputy registrars instead of 47. We would have 40 assistant registrars instead of 32. We would have 160 chief magistrates instead of 100. And then we would have 40 senior principal magistrates grade 1 instead of 10. We would have 50 principal magistrates grade 1 instead of 20. We would have 70 senior magistrates grade 1 instead of 30, and then we would have 514 magistrates grade 1 instead of 386. Number 4, effective implementation of the case management reforms. The judiciary should continue to support and implement existing case management reforms such as mediation, plea bargain, small claims procedure, case backlog reduction strategy, child-friendly courts, automation of courts. B, the judiciary should champion more reforms in procedural laws and court processes, targeting the following and other areas. Roman 1, the court fees. 2, the court bailiffs rules. 3, the Court of Appeal rules. 4, the court bail guidelines. 5, the state brief scheme. 6, the appellate mediation. 7, the management of exhibits. And then 8, the amicus curiae. C rather. The judiciary should continue advocating for the amendment of the law to enhance the jurisdiction of magistrates' courts, Given the escalating inflation levels and the current market values of products, it would appear that very soon magistrates' courts may have no work. An amendment to the Magistrates' Court Act to enable jurisdiction of magistrates' courts will inevitably enhance access to justice and reduce case backlog. Number 5, improvement of court infrastructure. The commencement of the construction of court infrastructure should be implemented as planned. This includes 1, the construction of the Judiciary Archive, 2, the expansion of the Judicial Training Institute, JTI, 3, construction of Court of Appeal buildings at Gulu and Barara, 4, construction of High Court circuits at Soroti, Hoima, Rukungiri, and Mpiji, 5, establishment of magistrates' courts at Karenga, Patongo, Abim, Aleptong, Budaka, and 5A, construction of justice centers under jailers at Bunyangabu, Omoro, Luengo, Chibale, Chegegwa, and Rakai. B, the ongoing construction of justice centers under jailers at Buweju, Shema, Simbabule, Kole, Chegegwa, Rakai, and Serere should be completed. C, the planned renovation works at the courts of Moyo, Ajumani, Masindi, Ntungamo, Mbale, Hoima, Yumbe, Masaka, Soroti, and Tororo, and maintenance works for 12 courts of Aduku, Butaleja, Commercial Court, Nabuero, Rukungiri, Luero, Moroto, Pade, Oyam, and Gulu should be commenced and completed. D, there should be deliberate budget support to the judiciary for institutional houses to cater for accommodation in hard-to-reach and to stay areas, such as Kalangala, Buvuma, Highlands, Bulisa, Buyende, Abim, Karenga, Napak, and Buko. E, the planned supply of power backup systems to at least 10 courts, assorted furniture to at least 20 courts, assorted equipment such as photocopiers to priority courts, and installation of fire extinguishers in all the courts as an emergency response tool should be done expeditiously, paying attention to environment issues of greening of the court premises. Number 6, strengthening automation of court processes. The plans for strengthening the ICT function in the judiciary to acquire more tools for electronic justice, e-justice that is, should be effectively and expeditiously implemented through A, operationalizing the first phase of the electronic court case management information system, that is ECMIS, at 18 court stations, including the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal Constitutional Court, the 7 divisions of the High Court, 1 High Court at the circuit, 5 Chief Magistrates Court, and 3 Magistrates Court, Grade 1. B, rolling out the video conferencing system to 7 court stations and prison facilities. C, rolling out the digital court recording and transcription to 4 court stations. D, extending and upgrading the judiciary local-wide area network, LAN/1, infrastructure to 10 and 13 court stations respectively. And E, maintaining the judiciary ICT system and services in serviceable condition. H, conclusion. The judiciary is committed and ready to do whatever it takes to ensure that justice reaches every man and woman in this country. It is our constitutional mandate to do so. So much that it is as accessible to them as water is. The government has already demonstrated to us their inalienable support towards realizing these milestones, for which we are infinitely grateful. The ball is in our court. We must champion the cause and walk the talk. We undertake to do that, and we have already embarked on the journey. May the good Lord be on our side to witness this cherished transformation. Appreciation. I take this opportunity to hail His Excellency the President of Uganda for his full support to the judiciary. The President understands that justice should be as accessible to the communities as schools, roads, electricity, and health centers are. We thank him and look forward to realizing this dream. Let me explain this. Let me explain this so that the people in Uganda understand where we're coming from. Towards the close of the financial year under consideration, it was on these grounds when we had our new law year, and the Chief Justice put a very strong case to the President, who was guest of honor, on the need for a paradigm shift in the thinking, in the manner we perceive the judiciary in this country, the role the judiciary has to play and can play, the importance of the judiciary in the socioeconomic development, transformation, and stability of this country. Immediately we followed up in accordance with the law by presenting our budget proposals for the financial year which we are now in, that is 2021-22. The President was not only in support, he went one step ahead of us. We were making the case for a magistrate in every county constituency. You create a constituency today, would be happy to, and we would be mandated. This would be duty bound to immediately apply to the Judicial Service Commission to recruit a magistrate grade 1 for that constituency. You create a district, we would be obliged to do the same, to recruit a chief magistrate. Now, where the President went one step ahead, all of us, and that's why we hail him, we give him due credit. He said, why do we stop at constituencies? He said, we have about 2,000 sub-counties in this country. We can man these sub-counties with magistrates grade 1. And we had gone with a budget proposal of about 750 billion. Is that right, Mr. P.S.? 700, around that. We said, no, pull it up to 800 billion, which we will realize in the medium term of 3 years. Every financial year, beginning the one which I'm talking in now, not the one we are reviewing. So that ultimately, we will have a magistrate grade 1 in every sub-county in this country. What does this mean? And I give you my word, I've said it before, I can repeat it today. If this comes to pass, we talk of 2 years backlog. For me, if it happens when I'm Chief Justice of Uganda, backlog is a case which has taken more than 6 months in court. That's what backlog would be. If a magistrate has a case filed in his or her court in the sub-county, six months elapses. We're in the 7th month, we're the eighth month. The case is still pending. You must give a written explanation to the Chief Justice of Uganda why that is happening. Because when you go to hospital, you don't wait for a month to be attended to. When you go to fetch water, you don't wait for 2 days. You want to go pick the water, take the water home for use. So hopefully we will have that situation. But before we reach that, even with the constituency magisterial deployments, the provisions of magistrate at these county constituencies, we should be able to massively reduce this issue backlog from 2 years to 12 months. If a case has taken more than 12 months, it is backlog. Why should a case take more than 12 months when you're looking after a constituency only? The person before you was looking after 5 constituencies, so backlog began from 2 years. Now you're looking after one, only 1/5. So we will be able to ensure that our people realize justice. So that the appellate process, when you talk of 3 years, you're talking about exhausting the appellate process up to the Supreme Court, if need be. So that's the reason why we thank the President and we hold him with reverence on this issue, because he's taking charge, he's taking the lead, and I will be making a report, as I said before, on what we would have realized this financial year, subsequent to the plans that were made in the financial year under consideration. I would like to thank the Deputy Chief Justice of Uganda, my Lord Richard Butera, the Principal Judge, my Lord Dr. Zeja, the Justices and Judges of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, High Court, the Chief Registrar, Secretary to the Judiciary, the Registrars and Magistrates, heads of departments and units, and all the staff of the Judiciary for their efforts that account for this commendable performance. Let me say this: whatever success, whatever strides we're making in the judiciary, and indeed we're embarked on a mission to transform the judiciary of Uganda, it is because I'm favored as Chief Justice of Uganda with a very cohesive management. The persons I've just named here, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Principal Judge, the Secretary to the Judiciary, the Chief Registrar, who form the top management of the Judiciary. I don't think for a long while we'll have a better team than the one which I have. and from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank each one of you and all of us together, because we owe it to our people to work in concert, to work together and do our part, so that when we look back, when we retire, we say, yes, we went, we saw, and we accomplished. I also extend our profound appreciation to the executive and the legislative arms of government, the justice, law, and order institutions, the administration of justice program institutions, the development partners, especially the UNDP, UN Women, UNFPA, UNICEF, World Bank, among others, for the financial and technical support, the civil society organizations, and the media fraternity, for your invaluable contribution and excellent partnership during the period under consideration. We look forward to your continued participation together with us to see that justice is done for our people. Last but not least, I commend the Chief Registrar and her team for developing this maiden Judiciary Annual Performance Report. Why do I say? Because they've done this without a precedent. They're now creating a precedent on which future performance reports will be made. So I have every reason to hail you, Your Worship, the Chief Registrar, and your team for a job most well done. You surely invested impressive effort, time, and resources. May this spirit continue during the years to come. I am grateful to all of you who have managed to personally be here on this maiden launch. Your presence cannot be taken for granted. It points to your commitment to the cause of justice. May the good Lord bless each one of us. Be safe. COVID is still around. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my Lord, for the presentation of the report. We can give a very big round of applause to the Chief Justice. We now have a few activities to perform. The next one will be to launch the report, which will be launched by being signed by the Honorable the Chief Justice, plus the top management, and then we shall request the representatives of the stakeholders who have joined us also to sign the same. I request the team to prepare and unveil it for signing, and I will request all of us to stand as the same is being performed. So, my Lord Chief Justice, I request you to, it is on your left side, that is this, covered by the white sheet. That's where it lies. So the report has been unveiled, and the Honorable Chief Justice will now sign it. Let us put our hands together and appreciate the Chief Justice. He will be followed by the Deputy Chief Justice. Thank you very much, my Lord. The Honorable, the Principal Judge, who will be followed by the Chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission. Thank you very much, my Lord. After the chairperson, we shall have the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions. Thank you very much, my Lord. After the Deputy Director, we shall have the Permanent Secretary and followed by the Chief Registrar. Thank you very much. The Permanent Secretary can have the Chief Registrar, who will be followed by the President, Uganda Law Society, and then the Deputy Director of Legal and Human Rights, Uganda Police Force. Thank you very much, Madam President. Lastly, but not least, we shall have the Deputy Director of Legal and Human Rights in the Police Force to sign. Thank you very much. Under subsection 3 of section 39 of the Administration of Judiciary Act, it is provided that the Chief Justice shall cause to be distributed copies of the annual performance report to the President, the Speaker, and any other stakeholders. We have some stakeholders amidst us, and I will request the Chief Justice, after he has signed the reports that he's signing, to personally hand over some of those copies to the stakeholders who have blessed this occasion. So the first copy will go to the chairperson of the Judicial Service Commission. The commission being a very big stakeholder in the administration of justice, I request the same to be. Okay. Let's appreciate the receiving of the same copy. Thank you very much, my Lord. The next one will go to the Directorate of Public Prosecutions, received by the Deputy Director. The President, Uganda Law Society, on behalf of the society members, then we can have the Deputy Director of Legal and Human Rights in the Police Force. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my Lord, for that performance of that duty. The rest of the members will be receiving theirs in the due course. I know there will be an arrangement to make sure that all the stakeholders receive their copies. I want to thank you very much, my Lord, for having performed this function of inaugurating the report. We have officially come to the end of the function in this room. We are now going for the photo session, but I would like to beg all of you that after the photo session, you come back here. In African culture, after a function like this, there is some drinking and eating, and we have not diverted from the same culture. So I request that after the photo session, I request you to come back and partake of what has been prepared. Thank you very much. We shall now be guided to where we shall take our photos from. It will be on the northern wing of the building. Okay, I'm advised that we can arrange it here for purposes of capturing our logo. Push the chair there. The table has to be pushed off, and the flowers in the past. You arrange.